to me while I was out there struggling. Well, here the boat is separating itself from me, and within about maybe 30 seconds or maybe 45 seconds, by that time, they're already so far from me that they couldn't throw a life preserver to me. And the only thing that saved me is there was a boat that seen what was going on, that we was in trouble, and it pulled up in behind there, and they throwed me a rope. And if it wasn't for that, son, I was fixing to die.
I hear you.
I'd done already lost all my strength because all that adrenaline went to my body towards me fighting my way out of that turbulence that I was in.
Yeah.
And then I was taking on water. I was either breathing it or drinking it or eating it or something. I'd done already lost all my strength to the point that I was fixing to give up. I was fixing to give up on life. And of course, once you give up, that's it.
That's right. Yeah, you don't fight.
It just so happens I heard somebody in behind me saying, "We're over here, we're over here." And of course, I couldn't turn around. All I could do is hear them. I was gasping for breath. And finally, I turned around and I realized that it was another pontoon boat, and it was a nice one. It was a three-stringer, and they throwed me a rope, but it was all I could do was reach out there and grab that rope. And then once I did grab that rope, I had to drag myself into the side of the boat slowly. And then once I got a hold of the boat, I hung on to the boat for like 5 minutes just to be able to regroup because I'd lost all my strength. And they kept saying, "Come on back here, the ladder's back here." So I eased myself back there in the back, and I'm doing all I can do. I promise you, I'm doing all I can do to maintain, just to keep them giving up and dying.
Right.
And as soon as I got back to the back of the ladder, I grabbed a hold of that ladder and done it a bear hug and hung on to that ladder and started praying to God. "God, you're going to have to give me enough strength to be able to get through this." Well, I was praying that all the whole time. But I had to hang on to that ladder for about 3 or 4 minutes once more to regain my bearings of what was going on. And finally, I grabbed a hold of the ladder and I drug myself up one step. And whenever I done that, all my energy left again, and I had to hang on to the ladder again. I had to do that like 2 or 3 times before they finally grabbed a hold of me and drove me onto the boat. They brought the paramedics and everything out there and looked at me and, listened to my chest and everything, make sure that I wasn't gurgling a whole lot of water and stuff. But God only knows what kind of freaking chemicals that I freaking swallowed in that freaking Tennessee River that day.
That's right. Off of what boat?
Off of what boat?
Yeah.
Or dead poo-poo fish or dead fish or whatever.
Yeah.
But the river has gotten to where it's dangerous during the holiday season.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely dangerous.
Well, you got people that rents boats, and you got people that carries their own up there, and you got people that lives up there, and so, Yeah.
Well, I guess that attorney that got killed up there, did he have a family? Did he have a wife and kids?
I don't remember.
But he was the attorney right up there at the court square at Dresden, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. He had a
Wow.
place in Greenfield one time,
Did he?
over there close to...
Somebody said that he was a senator at one time or something. And then
he was a
really?
representative one.
A representative or something,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And his daddy, Groom's Heron, was a judge or something like that up there.
He was.
Grooms is his name. Grooms.
I didn't know Bradbury's still alive. Bradbury's still practicing law. The blind guy?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's in. There's a guy in with him. Let's see.
Did you know whenever they go to the courthouse, did you know he never takes the elevator?
Say what?
He never takes the elevator. He's got that guy that helps hold his arm,
Yeah.
and they'll take the steps every time.
He had a woman, What's her name?
I don't know.
Uh,
But it's getting bad, man, and I'm just afraid it's going to get a whole lot worse pertaining to people breaking in and people not respecting nobody. And like I said, if we the people don't buckle down pertaining to what is happening here, it's just a matter of time before the outlaws are going to have more power than the civilized people.
well, that's what I'm saying before. I told you that when they take the guns, they took the shells about it and a lot of the guns, and these automatics they call them. They say, "Oh, that's the army use." It's not. If you got out there with one of them little old things, they're like a 22, a little over 22 rifle. And you got out there.
You ain't talking about a 40 cal or a 50 cal that a freaking take a bullet and go plumb through a motor.
Right.
You're talking about something about like a little bit heftier than a 22.
Yeah.
But it will spit them out there.
Yeah.
Pop, 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 pop. It'll spit them out there.
Well, that's the thing about that's what they wanted, to get out here and just shit around, out here and game shoot and target practice down yonder. We used to have 22 rifles that had 21 shells in them.
Right.
Down the barrel.
But it's got to the point that you can't trust nobody.
No.
People lie to you. People would connive you. And I ain't talking about hoodlums. I'm talking about decent people that you thought never would have been bogus or never would have stretched their imagination towards telling you something, and come to find out they hoodooed you. People's gotten desperate, hadn't they?
Oh, yeah.
They've gotten desperate and they've gotten serious, and it don't matter who they screw over. It can be their grandmother, you know it?
Yep. It's like one of the boys says, I know that guy, yeah, he'd lie. Said, I tell you what he'd do. If he went to hell tomorrow, and he got down there and somebody come up, well, so-and-so, I didn't know you was going there. He said, no, I'm just down here hunting somebody. Lie again.
That sounds about right. Man, we've had a pretty enforcement summer this year, haven't we?
Yeah.
And there's places down there in Texas, I guess the way they talk, the water temperature down there below Miami is over 100 degrees and breaking all-time records towards it being water temperature.
Yeah.
And also the amenial or semio or whatever they call it, that's supposed to be building again this year, towards it even being that much more hotter next year. I'm telling you, Ray, what's doing this, it's not the sun. The sun's doing part of it, but the other part what's doing it is all the volcano activity that's heating up the water from the inside, the bottom of the seas. That's what's doing it.
Yep, they've had them for years, but some of them hadn't never erupted.
Well, we've had like a 300% increase of all that in the past 10, 12, 15 years, and I credit it towards all the oil that we have distracted or retracted from the earth. That we're messing up the ecosystem below our feet, and everything's got an ecosystem to it. Don't matter if it's a bug, don't matter if it's a tree, don't matter if it's the ocean, don't matter if it's us. Everything got an ecosystem to it. You know what I'm saying? And of course, whenever you cut down all the trees and you no longer have oxygen going up into stabilizing the differences. There's just too many automobiles, too much If you'll notice during a holiday, what was it, either the 4th of July or Memorial Day, they said that the airline industry done better than what it has for the past 3 years, going all the way back to pre-COVID. But if you'll watch the weather a couple days after that, you'll watch it, bam, boom, it'll go up into the freaking 90s or even the mid-90s or almost 100 degrees. And it's got to be because of all the gases that's going up into the atmosphere towards.
I don't know how many gallons an airplane uses for a trip, or to crank up even. I don't know.
But the majority of the people that's doing that are the rich people, the wealthy people, those that's got money. Poor people ain't gonna be putting on an airplane ticket and going somewhere. They ought to limit people's usage on airplanes, and airplanes should be predominantly for business people, and it should be predominantly for moving merchandise back and forth, cargo.
Well, a lot of you senators and
that's business. That's business.
They've got planes.
That's business.
Yeah.
Those are business people.
Yeah, but a lot of them.
They wheeling and dealing.
Yeah, a lot of them taking trips so for the fun.
Some of them do. Some of them take advantage of it.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say probably the majority of them do, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Probably 2/3 of them do, because there's really no way of monitoring how much money that they spend or what they spend it on. Every now and then they'll catch one. They'll try to make a big deal out of it on the media, but then it usually ain't paid no attention to because there's so much of it. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody's doing a little.
Yeah. In other words, you got too many freaking cooks in the kitchen, too many hands in the cookie jar, and because of it, it's diminished our credibility pertaining to our laws. You know it? So they wanted to put Martha Stewart in jail for inside trading. If the truth be known, probably over 2/3 of them up there is involved in that. They know what's good, what ain't good, what's going to sell, what ain't going to sell, what's plummeted, what ain't going to plummet. They said on the news a while ago that a lot of your social media platforms was fixing to raise the prices on their services.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's going to happen whenever that occurs. That's going to cause a lot of people just to basically take their daggum portable phone and just go back to just a regular phone. We don't want all this other stuff on there.
Well, half the time they turn some of that off to where you can't use it.
I know.
So they can turn that off.
Well, they're in control of all that. You know that, don't you? Whenever you put something on your social media platform, you don't no longer own it. They do.
Yep. I don't put nothing on there.
And if they don't like it, they can take it off. Or if they want to take it and manipulate it and take it to some other country and let them listen to it, they can do that too. You know.
That's the reason somebody calls you, and
you got to be careful what you say.
Don't never say, "Is this so and so?"
You got to be
yes,
careful
yes.
in what
No,
you say.
So who are you hanging?
And you got all them scammers out there, people that's wanting to know. You know, I had somebody that sent me a text. It looked legitimate, that it was UPS. Looked just like a UPS logo. Said, we went to your house. We had a package. If you'll call this number and send us $1 for restocking fees, we'll bring it back out there at your house. What they was wanting me to do was call them up and give them my credit card number. And I went into the a business over there at Kenton, and I asked a woman, I said, does this look legitimate to you? And she looked at it, she said, no, it does not. And she had a way of taking those numbers that look legitimate and programming it in with the UPS services, and it should come up 0. In other words, it wasn't even recognized. That set of numbers that they was giving me wasn't even registering. Besides that, I didn't order no package. Wasn't expecting no package.
I got one here a while back. See, I had that TV deal yonder. I got one out there in the yard that I put there. I took the thing off and give it back to them and took the wire and rolled it up and put it on post. They didn't come get it.
Yeah.
And
did it?
Huh?
Did it? Did they come and get it?
No. Oh, what happened to it? It's out there on post, all I know. They told me you had to take it to someplace and put it in a FedEx box.
And spend money. And spend time.
Yeah, and
spend gas.
Yes.
We're at your automobile.
Yep. And I said, well, how come you ain't got your box down here at the post office?
Yes.
It's not big enough.
Right.
Not big enough. I said, well, put one big enough. Otherwise, come get the damn thing, you know.
But you don't know if they did or not.
No.
Who knows?
Don't care.
Who knows?
I'm done with you. Don't mess with it. Don't bring it back.
But I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but man, there's a lot of commotions going on right now with all these countries. What's fixing to happen to us? Do you know?
No.
Are we fixing to lose our grip pertaining to America no longer being America like it used to be?
Well, it already has. Since Biden took over that part,
How about the deal with the cocaine and his son? And now they've almost proven that he did and was involved in a lot of that hokey pokey stuff going on.
They ain't gonna do nothing, no. Me or you have been in jail. They ain't gonna do nothing.
But yet now they want to ramrod Donald Trump for every little mistake he's made.
Yep.
Huh?
Yep. They just want to keep him from being elected again.
They want to just keep him
down.
They want to smear his reputation to the point that there won't be another uprising.
Right.
Or another voting privilege uprising, because he's done told them that if he becomes president, everybody that got arrested in January the 6th, he's going to order for every one of them to be released. And I don't doubt that he'd do that. Do you know it?
I don't either.
He'd pardon every one of them.
He said it, he will. That's one thing that they can't say about him. He did and does what he say he's going to do.
Do you think Russia would have invaded Ukraine if Donald Trump would have become president?
No. No. Because he'd have sent them F-16s or whatever over there to start with. We're pussyfooting around and sending 2 shells, so we need to hold them.
We should have been wide open on that deal day one. You know it.
Yes.
You ain't dealing with freaking goat herders. No. You're dealing with some sophisticated people over there, because if you study them, they was actually part of the people that migrated over into the UK pertaining to the Europeans, and look what the Europeans done to the Americans. They come over here and basically dominated this area with King George III and slaughtered all the freaking Indians. And it wasn't until the Revolutionary War when we finally put an end to them, stopped them. Even then, they tried again. I think in the early 1800s, there was another movement towards them trying to come over here and do something, and we stopped them again. So,
like Canada is, right?
Well, it's in their gene.
Yeah.
They want to dominate. They want to be the king of the mountain. Like what? Canada? Something about Canada?
Canada, Trudeau. He don't want to do nothing except against America. He's against us.
Man, it's got to where you can't trust nobody.
Yeah.
Everybody's now it's balls to the wall. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I don't think we've even seen the tip of the iceberg yet towards how bad it's going to get. With COVID coming into play, you know, they claim that a lot of these schools, kids are like 2 years behind. Teachers are getting underpaid. They can't afford books. They can't afford this. The buildings is falling apart. I mean, where else are we going to go with this?
Well, you look right out here. They just put in some playgrounds, and they're going to have that, what's that green grass that they put on football fields?
Turf?
Hmm?
Turf.
Artificial turf.
Artificial turf.
There's rows of it laying down under and up here, and right out there in the
So they're going to put it in the yard and make it look like real grass, but it's that way they don't want us to mow it. Somebody done convince them long term that that'd pay for itself.
Yeah, maybe. But they're paying a whole lot to get it put there. People
Probably take 20 years for it to pay for itself, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Or longer.
Yeah. All them people that's there is going to be gone.
I've always liked the fresh of life myself. You know, that's kind of like me going out west, out to Arizona, which is nothing but basically a desert. And really, once you pass Oklahoma or Kansas, you're basically in nothing but all rock. And it's nice to look at all rock if that's what you're into. But as far as me going over there and living, no, I don't want to do it because to me it don't have life like the areas that we're used to over here. We're used to seeing life.
It's like the parts like you're talking about California and up the coast.
Yeah.
And the sand.
Yeah.
And
now California is beautiful. It does have some beautiful rolling hills. And California is a big piece of property. Don't think for a second that it's not. But whenever it gets to the point that basically your illegals and your drug addicts
that's it right there.
and your conmen, that they're all over there, you know what's going to happen to California?
Of course, going down, down, down.
Same thing basically that they're trying to prevent from happening. It's going to happen to Texas. But I don't think Texas is going to be able to control it because now the government's trying to sue Texas by putting up them buoys.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't want to do it themselves. They don't want to control it. Don't
Right.
put a wall up.
Exactly.
Trump wanted the wall.
Exactly.
So,
That's kind of like you protecting your castle.
right.
The law don't want to do their job towards, if the courts would do their jobs, that would persuade people, you know what, you just don't go out here and take advantage of somebody's stuff and steal from them, because if you do, you're going to pay dearly for doing that. Well, we've lost our better edge,
Yeah.
hadn't we?
Yep.
People has lost respect for the police.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, they want somebody to protect them, but they don't want to pay for it. And they're going to have to.
Well, they want to defund everything.
Yeah.
They want to defund FBI and defund this and defund that. I mean, you got to have people that's got authority and they got to act upon it.
Yellow.
Hey, what's the name of that place over there across the bypass? Make plastic fence smoke?
Here?
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know. You know, everybody makes plastic posts and stuff like that around here, across the bypass. I don't.
Is
I
he
don't
talking
know.
about Tux, the place down there by Tux?
I don't know. I know.
No, you go on the Sidonia Road and it's the other side of the bypass.
Oh, he's talking about the guy over there that's right over here. Right over here. The guy that got all the pallets and stuff.
I don't know.
But I didn't know he made fence posts.
I didn't either. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, you know, the city of Martin got onto not Tuck's, but that other business right down below Tuck's, told them to clean up their yard. If not, they'd fix to start fining them like $500 a day.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
What now?
I don't know. I don't know. I hadn't seen them.
Google it. Google it.
Yeah.
Google it.
Been out there doing something.
Google it.
Who's out there? The people?
You go right across. It's over there on the other side of the road from.
The truck driving place. The testing, truck driving testing thing. I know where you're at.
Yeah.
Google it. Google will tell you.
I thought that making pallets.
That's on this side of the bypass. He's talking about the other side of the bypass in that building over there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's where he's talking about. They actually have employees working there. I don't know what to build. I don't know what to do. Don't know what to sell. Do you? Don't have a clue.
Well, I know they make something over there. Because you go past Larry Watley's place. There's something.
He's-
Larry Watley is
yeah.
right up the 4-lane.
Yeah. Well, see, he sold that place.
Where'd he go to?
He ain't in business no more. I know of.
I wonder who owns that now.
I did know, but I don't know now. And that boy does carpet, Brown, last name Brown. He's gonna build. You know where the cul-de-sac down there at the end, where the turnaround is. He's gonna build him a building out there.
But the city of Martin's clamping down on a lot of people.
I don't know.
EPA?
That might be.
No, it's just the city clamping down on them toward making them clean up everything, making it look more presentable. Either that or put a hurricane fence around it where you can't look. They got on the Pierce real bad. Whenever Pierce went out there on the bypass, even though he was on the bypass, he had all them junk cars and stuff in there where he'd drag all that stuff. They got on him hard and heavy, and he had to put a hurricane fence up that's got those little straps in it where you can't see. And you know, there before Pierce, he was right there beside Suter. And I guess they hated Pierce because he was beating and banging and doing he was involved in a lot of messy type work. Dragging in stuff, dragging out stuff.
Daddy had a body shop there beside Peter.
He did. My dad worked for him, Bobby Jackson. And so did my brother, Danny Jackson. Matter of fact, Mr. Pierce is dead now, but his sons is taking the business over, and his wife's still living. I went over there a few years ago and talked to her, and as soon as she identified who I was, she basically said, you know what, I ain't got no time for you. If you're anything at all like your brother was, please leave. I don't have no time for you. In other words, judging me off of the character of what his personality was. And that's the way people are around here. If you got a drunken father, well, that must mean that you're drunk. If you got a mother or a sister that's a whore, well, that must mean that you're a whore.
What about James Jackson? Whatever happened to him?
James Jackson's still living. He's still working the carny business. He lives in Kenton, Tennessee. He's got a girlfriend over there. But he's still doing the carny thing.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I ain't seen him since he had that little Toyota RV.
Well, he was down there living with Chicken down there in that pole barn. I guess he lived down there in that pole barn for about 2 years.
With who?
Chicken Little. In between Mount P and Reeves over there by the Primitive Baptist Church, pretty close to Melvin Hill's place.
I ain't seen him in years. I was thinking about it the other night. I was sitting there watching television.
Well, he could probably come back along by fall when it started getting cold.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, get over here.
All right. Take care.
Who in the world was that? Who was I talking to?
Jackie Arnold.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. But yeah, that business over there where that whatever that guy, I should remember his name. I went to school with him that trains people to be 18-wheeler drivers. There's a business right on it. You can see it from that little office that he's got right there whenever he trains drivers. But I had not a clue what they was building or what they were doing. They must be pretty secretive, you know it. You don't see them down there at the town hall meetings, throwing in on them towards debating stuff, making decisions about the city. Well, who did they get the chief of police now?
Nobody.
Well, when did that happen?
A couple of 3 weeks ago.
Whenever they pursued Hot Chase, and the board members fired him.
The mayor.
The mayor fired him.
2 of them. 2 young ones.
Well, they had to have a board meeting on that, didn't they?
Yep. They called a special meeting.
They did.
One of them still lives out China. You remember where?
I thought that guy they brought that guy in from New York or somewhere. He was a big military man, wasn't he?
Pennsylvania, but he's a young man. Had a Indian haircut.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, it ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
No. Well, he didn't look the part when somebody pulls you over and they got a clown outfit on. You ain't gonna do too much. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean that's your thinking now.
Well,
That's your prejudice thinking.
Well, if you
it don't matter if you're bald headed or if you got if your hair's dyed red, you still got to honor them if they got that badge on.
Well,
if they got that badge, you better say yes or no, sir. That's what's wrong with the community nowadays, towards people no longer wanting to honor police officers whenever they pull you over. That's the reason. Did you see it on film whenever that guy was holding that dog up there? I think it was up here in Kentucky. And the dog, man, he was hyper, man. He was just, I mean, he was ready to take off. And I guess, I don't know if the guy let go of the dog or if the dog got free from him. But I know that dog tore into that guy like tearing into a piece of cheese.
The cop?
No, it was a truck driver.
Oh.
He's going to pull him over because he had a mud flap off. Just a regular pullover. And the next thing you know, it turned into almost a killing. Dog done mauled him, tore him up. You remember that house that was real pretty and they kept it real nice and it wound up being in the magazine? Right there where Donnie Ridgway used to live. Gail still living there.
Yeah.
What was them people's names?
Shit. I don't know.
Was it Dennis Harrison?
No, but that guy lived out there that had the hooks for a while.
That's Sonny Davis.
Yeah, he bought it later on.
Yeah, he bought it later on. Yeah. But I'm talking about back in the 60s. It was a beautiful, beautiful piece of property. Yeah. They kept the bushes. They kept the yard mint. They kept that pond. That pond had a little white bridge over it.
Yep. Flowers and everything else. I can't think the person's name. I used to know them.
They originally come from Memphis, but anyways, they had 2 beautiful German Shepherd dogs. I mean, they was Ren 10 all the way. And for some reason, man, them dogs tore into me one afternoon. I don't know if they just didn't like me. I was just out there playing. I wasn't probably about 8 or 9 years old. They tore into me in the back of that calf right there, and son, they tore a big hunk of meat out of me. I'd go to the doctor and get sewed up. They paid for it. And they had to check the dog out too, by law. Yep. Make sure the dog didn't have rabies. Yep. They had to hold the dog for a certain length of time and let the dog be checked out.
Yep. That was a law. I don't know what it is anymore or not.
Oh, yeah. That's a big time law. Kind of like Cujo. Remember that movie Cujo?
I don't know why.
Have you ever seen an animal have rabies?
I don't know whether that may be the reason we don't have as many dogs on police force anymore, too.
Liability. Yeah. But have you ever seen an animal that had rabies? They claim just the sight of water makes them go crazy. Or anything loud noise makes them go crazy. Ain't no telling, is it? I know those people, those poor people down there in Texas and Arizona and New Mexico and places like that. I know if you got any kind of size home at all, what is your home? Probably about a 2,400 square foot house. A little bigger, 2,600 square foot house. You have any idea what it costs to cool this house if you was down there in 100-degree temperatures day after day after day for 40 plus days? And in Phoenix, it was that way for 110 degrees for over, I think, 40 days. You realize what your utility bill would cost? Probably be about $700, $800, maybe even $1,000, $1,200.
That down here, Cordon, Don Edwards.
Yeah.
Some 3 or 4 people was putting the top on his house last week too. One of them fell off. I don't know how bad he's hurt, but he's out. Somebody's in trouble.
Well, the TVA, they're having to double up on a lot of these lines and stuff. They're preparing for all these electrical cars, ain't they?
Yeah.
They going in and remodifying a lot of these towers, ain't they?
Well, they're putting a new line.
Is that what they're doing?
The extra line. If you'll notice, there's another line. Used to be like 3 maybe or 2, and now there's an extra line out, and that carries current because they have to. For them down, see, Martin's got them chargers sitting right there by the.
Well, they claim though that they're going to put like 400 chargers between Knoxville and Memphis on I-40. That's a whole lot of chargers to be putting in, ain't it?
Yeah. How much is it going to cost?
I don't know.
To operate your vehicle, is what I'm wondering.
I don't know,
Charge it up.
but I know this: if that battery ever blows up and you're in the vehicle, it's basically like a bomb.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna live.
You ain't gonna get to.
It'd be worse than a gas tank blowing up.
It burnt. Somewhere I seen one that burnt. Got a electrical short in it, and they tell you don't touch nothing. And it burnt the darn car, and the car was made out of fiberglass, and it just melted it down.
We're seeing things right now, Ray, that we ain't never seen before. You know what?
Well, they're getting cheaper. The electric cars are getting cheaper.
Well, yeah, they're getting cheaper, but still, I mean, you're going to have a place to be able to put all those dead batteries, and that's just a hazard.
Right.
Well, they're going to do with all that stuff. Put it on a rocket ship and blow it up and put it up there on the moon somewhere?
Mm-hmm. That's about what they think. You know what I mean?
Somebody told me that they had means of going to mine the moon, that the moon had minerals on it, that they was going to bring back a lot of minerals and use them.
Yeah.
Boy, it's a lot of big time thinking, ain't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they got to get there and be able to live there first.
You know, I don't think that they're looking for life. You know what I think they're doing? I think they're looking for a place that they can set up shop on. That way it will sustain life. Because they know that they have screwed this planet up so bad that it's just a matter of time before this thing's going to turn into probably a fire inferno. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And they're looking for another place to land. That way they can start another Genesis somewhere. But don't you think that they're going to contaminate that island or that star or that planet the same way that they've contaminated this one?
They will. They will.
How are you doing health-wise?
I don't know. I had that hiatal hernia and lost almost 6.5, 7 pints of blood. Had to put them back in and some iron, and I ain't felt worse shit since.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Are you on heavy, strong medication?
No, ain't on nothing.
You ain't on nothing?
Ain't on nothing.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I take a handful of pills every morning, take a handful of pills every night.
I used to take vitamins that way, different vitamins.
Yeah. I'm
about to quit them because I don't know whether they're any good or not, because they've changed everything and put smaller and larger and
you know, they claim right now that there's a big shortage on medical supplies in this country and pills.
Well, we give it away.
Pills and medical supplies, oxygen tubes and stuff like that. What are we gonna do whenever those people that's mentally incompetent, that you got to give them medication to keep them halfway settled down? What are we gonna do whenever you can't no longer medicate those people?
It's like they're gonna do about everything else.
Is this thing gonna turn into a zombie type movie scenario where basically you're gonna have zombies walking around?
What's this new deal of
Where are we going with all this? Where's the end game to all this? What I want to know.
What is it?
We ain't getting better. We're getting worse.
'Cause nobody will.
We taking one step forward and two steps back, pretending to civilization, ain't we? Getting more and more uncivilized every day, ain't we?
Yep.
Tripping off their clothes, having open sex. Got to where now all these smartphone, basically any child can grab a hold of it, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 years old, can look at any kind of porn that they want to.
Yep.
Now we're having children at the age of 8, 9, and 10 having children. We got children having children.
Well, they won't let them say they won't be a girl or a boy.
And that's something else that's crazy. If that stuff was been going on whenever you was growing up, or me growing up, hell, they'd take them down there to a mental institution and want to know what the hell was wrong with them.
Right.
For a boy to want to become a girl or a girl to want to become a boy.
Well, I don't think that a person 4 or 5 years old has got the capacity to figure out what he is.
Absolutely. That's the reason why we don't allow them to have driver's licenses until they're 15 or 16. And even then, some of their minds is undeveloped. They probably still don't need to be in behind a wheel.
That's right.
That was the primary reason why we moved up to drinking age. But somebody told me that the drinking age in Martin's back down to 18.
I don't know. They was going to put that drinking age 18, but I don't know exactly where.
You know why they done it? Because of the college students.
Yeah, they can buy more. Well, they're going to get it anyway. You know that.
But let me ask you a question. If you're 18 years old and you done drinking a beer or two, and you got to go out of Martin, and you get pulled over by the county mountie, county mounty's going to look at you, with you being 18 or 19 years old, you're not supposed to have no alcohol at all in your system.
Right.
Now, they'll get you for public PD if they don't get you for nothing else, won't they?
They're going to figure out something.
The laws is contrary of the laws in certain areas, you know it? To where you're allowed to do it in one area, but then as soon as you get out of that zone, oh man, if you get caught by that bunch of people, you're fixing to get it. And it's almost like an entrapment, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. The law has become so crooked to where it, in a sense, it's like an entrapment deal. They're just waiting for the kids to get out of the city limits of Martin. That way a county mountie can pull them over, or Sharon cops or Greenfield cops or whatever.
Yep.
And then they'll be under a different guideline, a whole different set of rules.
Yep.
But
Well, the county has to vote on it, or the city or something.
who runs the county?
I don't know. Same
The
way.
judges and the crooks and the
Yep.
rich people?
Yep, I guess.
The farmers?
Well, some of the farmers, they ain't doing too good here lately, I don't think.
They've done real good this year. Them rains hit just right. Have you ever seen corn jump the way that it did this year? Huh? It went from a knee high to head high, I know, in a week.
Well, they say there's going to be shortage of corn. I don't believe it, but
Well, there's going to be a shortage of wheat because of what that is over in Ukraine done. He basically blowed up a whole granary thing over there. Plus, he blowed up a dam and caused all that farming property over there to go bad. You know, if you did have any crops, water. Once water gets over a field for probably more than 8 or 10 hours, it's probably doomed, ain't it?
kills whatever's on it.
They claim that flood that hit up there in Mayfield about a week ago, that it done hundreds of millions of dollars worth of damage on the farming community up there
Well,
because of the flooding.
I went up there, not particularly for that. I went up there and I seen some flooding, but I didn't see no hell of a lot.
No.
Into the street systems, yes.
Well,
Because
it was a flash flood. It was in and out because I went up there the following next day, that afternoon. No, I went up there that afternoon whenever it hit that day, and I was like you. I didn't see nothing, but it was a quickie. It was an in and out deal, and it wasn't near as bad like Waverly, Tennessee. What got them up there in Waverly, Tennessee, Humphreys County, was whenever whenever that levee broke that railroad was on, and it had all that other water that was on top of that, the water that was already in the city. It just ushered that in, and that's what caused it to move houses off their foundations and cars to flip upside down and everything else. I think it killed like 20-something people up there.
I don't doubt it.
You know, that town won't never be the same. It'd take generations, literal generations, before out with the old, in with the new, pertaining to the way that it used to be. It won't never be like it used to be.
Well, we're not got people growing up with the mentality that we had.
Ray,
Because they don't care.
Ray, I got a bad feeling about all this. You hear me? I got a bad feeling about all of it. What's fixing to happen to us as a nation, as a society over here. We got too many irons in the fire going on all over the planet,
Yes.
and there's no way that we can police all of them.
We're not made to do so.
There's
Help, yes. Police, no.
There's no way that we can police all of them.
Mm.
So we're going to see stuff on TV where countries are basically gassing their own people, or blowing up their own people, or doing whatever. You know, the stuff that Nixon and Ford and some of our other presidents has intervened on towards trying to stop. We're gonna see it again on live TV, and America's going to be in such of a predicament that we're not going to be able to help them.
That's true. That's what we've done. We've helped out.
Yeah, we've helped out. In other words, if we was to get in a
We're in trouble.
yeah, we'd be in trouble.
That's what's going to happen. We're going to get in trouble that way, and our people will
We'll suffer,
suffer.
which we're already suffering.
Oh, yeah.
But because of all the drug activity, who would have thought that this country would have been turned over to the devil the way that it has? Drugs has absolutely ruined this country, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, they send them over all now. That fentanyl.
Fentanyl.
Yeah. But see, they know it's coming, and Mexican people are bringing them. They send them over by boatloads and by...
But yet now you can't put a buoy up to stop them? So what's up with that? Is our government really trying to protect us? Or is our government trying to entrap us with all this stuff?
Well, I think...
What's going on?
If we get rid of a lot of the people we've got here, it won't cost as much to keep us here.
You know what I think? I think that somebody has made some underhanding dealings with some Mexican government.
Yeah.
The Mexican government has been bought out by the cartels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And basically, we've got too many addicts here in the United States that has been relying upon to the black market. And if you was to cut everybody's supply off all at once, my God, you'd have total freaking chaos over here.
Yeah.
It'd be like cutting off the medication to those mentally challenged boys that I'm telling you about.
Yep.
That the only way to keep them settled down is to keep them on drugs, and as soon as the drugs leave their system, they become violent.
Well, they don't want it. The hospital's going to be the same way. You ain't going to be able to have no hospitals that'll take them.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you a while ago. The people that helped to save my life down there in Pickwick, a female that was just as good as gold, she grabbed a hold of me and set me down. She said, "Now, I'm going to reach in behind your pocket. I'm going to get your driver's license, your billfold out." She said, "We need to know who you are. Is that okay?" I said, "Yeah, it's fine." She got talking to me. She said that she'd been working for 35 years down at Memphis, down there at the Children's Hospital, down there at Lambert, down there. And she said she was fixing to quit them.
Yeah.
I said, "Why in the world would you want to do that?" I said, "You're probably making about $50 an hour. Been in the hospital for that length of time." She said, "Because I've gotten tired of seeing too many people get wheeled outside because they didn't have the right kind of insurance, they wasn't the right kind of people to basically tell them to go home and die elegantly.
Right.
I'm getting tired of